Now that we've got the blank spaces in the calendar, right, and this will vary depending on what day, month, and year it is, we've got those. The next thing we need to do is put the days for the month, right? So each one in there for the month. And we need to have exactly the number of these as there are in the month. So the first thing we're going to do is get how many days in the month there are. So, well, let's just do these all together. We're going to add calendar days for each day of the month. Okay, that's what we're going to do. And first we need to figure out how many days there are. So let's create a variable and we'll call it total days. And then we need to know how many days are in this month. So we already have a function that does this, right? And this is handy because we just wrote it. So days in the month, and we need to send it a parameter. It expects one parameter that is the calendar date, and we have one because that was sent to us when this function was called, so we can forward that argument on. So we'll send that to days in the month with that date, and it will return total number of days. And which is awesome, right? That's what we need. That tells us how many of these calendar blocks we need. So now we're going to do a regular for loop that'll move us through these number of days. So we can just do a for. And in this for, we're not going to start at our normal 0 because we're going to use that looping variable to actually write the days. And the days of a month always start at 1, not at 0. So we're going to start at 1 and we'll go clear to and include the last day. And so this will look a little bit different than a for loop that we go through an array with. So we're going to start the I equal to 1 because that's going to be the first day in the month. And then we're going to want to keep going as long as I is less than or equal to the total days, because we want to get that last day in there as well. And then we want to get every day, we want to increment by 1. So we'll just use the I++ to increment by 1 each time we go through that loop. All right, there's our for loop. Now, what do we want to do? Well, we want to add to our HTML code. So we do HTML code and we're going to plus equal. And for each one of these, we want to add an opening TD tag, right? So each of these calendar spots will be a TD tag, and then it'll have a closing TD tag. And in between here is going to be this looping variable I, right? 1, 2, 3, all the way to 31 or however many days there are. So that's the I. And there is some style available on those. So to get that, we want to add the class variable, class equals, and this is calendared. Oh, there, I tried using that double quote and it ended the string, and I don't want it to do that, right? I want it to use the single quotes. So calendar days, dates. So calendar dates is the class name that we want in that TD. So this is what we want to print for each day of the year, or of the month, so each day of the month. But this I, we don't want it to just print I, we actually want it to print this variable. So for that to happen, we need to make sure it's outside of the string. So we just end the string here, and then use the plus operator to concatenate I, and then we plus after it and open that with a string. So here's the part that stays the same, is that opening TD tag, and this part stays the same, the closing TD tag, and then what changes every time through the loop is this value of I. So if we do that, let's see what happens as we loop through those, and we refresh, and there, it's not quite what we expected, but now we've got, it goes all the way from 1 to 31, so we did exactly the right number of days that we were hoping, but we didn't get any style. I wonder what went wrong with that. Did I misspell it? Calendar, oh, it's calendar dates with an S. Okay, let's save that. All those details make such a difference. Okay, and we get a little bit of style with them. We get a border and a height, and And then we get all these. What are we missing? We're missing the closing and opening TR tags, right? To identify this as a new row. So we'll work on that next.